Here is a disclaimer. This is technically my first review, so do not expect any high quality from this. This is merely my first time doing it because I want to get into filming and whatnot. So, anyway, enjoy the video. Hello everyone, today I will be doing a review on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a 1964 stop-motion Christmas animated television special produced by Videocraft Internationals. I recently watched Frosty the Snowman with my father, and I was going to rewatch this movie as well. Well, I probably have by the time you're seeing this, but here is a review of it. I might make one for Frosty the Snowman either this year or the next, so if you are seeing that on my channel, then congrats! There's a Frosty review there. Anyway, let's get on to the movie. Okay, so first it starts off with footage of a harsh snowstorm, as well as news clippings talking about a long snowstorm. The news tells us about how the storm might cause the postponement of Christmas. We then meet Sam, a talking snowman who is talking about the big snowstorm, as well as asking the viewer if he's the first talking snowman they've seen. He introduces the North Pole as Christmas Town, also talks about the Christmas tree forest, where Christmas trees are grown, which I assume grow the ornaments on them. He also brings up the
Christmas seals,
which are just seals messing with presents. I guess just because they are in Christmas Town, they count as Christmas seals. We then meet Santa and his mother. His mother encourages Santa to fatten himself up so he's the titular fat-ass Santa, further encouraging his bad eating habits so he can die young. Sam then offhandedly mentions Rudolph saving Christmas, finding that the viewer never heard the story, so he offers to tell it. He then starts singing the titular song about Rudolph. I want to point out that he points him out as the famous reindeer of all. If he was so damn popular, then why haven't I heard of him till now? After the opening credits, it cuts to Sam telling the story of Rudolph from the beginning. The story takes place a few years before the quote, big snow, cutting to when Donner became a father, naming his son Rudolph. Rudolph would raid... Oh my god, I am so bad at writing scripts, what the fuck? Rudolph would then raise his head and reveal his glowing red nose. For some reason, they call it shiny. This is not a shine, this is a glow. Donner then recited that one line from the song.
I'd even say it glow.
This brings me on to my first point. Why does Rudolph's nose glow? Like, seriously, why is it doing that? You can't tell me it's just a birth defect. I mean, either Rudolph was conceived near a nuclear power plant, or one of the parents was fucking a light bulb.
Did you hump a light bulb or something? No offense, Miss Donner.
None taken! Lucky he wasn't born with a fucking tumor for a nose. Anyway, Rudolph's mom tries to tell Donner that they need to overlook it, and Donner says there's no way to do that, which he's correct in saying, actually. Santa then arrives to take a look at Donner's new son, mentioning that he'll be on the team one day. He then meets Rudolph, Rudolph recognizing him as Santa, despite this presumably being the first time they meet.
Well, hi there. Aren't you the sturdy little fellow? Ho, 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 ho.
Santa.
We're gonna gloss over that anyway. Rudolph's nose begins to glow, Santa obviously being horrified by this. He then tells Donner they must put him down, Santa leaving to go get his shotgun and putting him out of his misery. The end. Nope, that is not what happens. Instead, he's just surprised by this. Donner telling Santa that he'll grow out of it. And that is not how it works. You don't just grow out of radiation poisoning. Or is that the correct term? I don't know. He says that he better hope so, because if he doesn't, Rudolph won't be able to join the team. Because he's racist towards reindeer with birth defects.
You see, my boy, I'm racist.
Santa then sings about jingling and jangling and wangling and shit like that. Basically singing a song about how he's gonna go off to give presents to the kids. He then promptly pisses off later. Donner laments over how Rudolph will never join the sleigh team, showing how much he thinks of his son despite his birth defects. What a great father... What a great father you are, Donner. Nice job, man. He then decides to hide Rudolph's nose, scraping some shit off the ground and shoving it onto Rudolph's nose. I seriously don't know what he just kicked off the ground. Is that mud? I'm presuming so. This effectively hides Rudolph's red nose. Sam comments that they did a great job hiding Rudolph's nose during the first year. Donner teaching his son the ins and outs of being a reindeer. He also taught Rudolph to always fear the abominable snow monster. It having a seriously, and I mean seriously creepy roar, and the feet are kind of creepy as well. I mean seriously, like what the fuck are those?
The abominable snow monster of the north.
Sam says that the monster hates Christmas for whatever reason, like that doesn't come into play later. They just kind of mention it and then we move on. We then cut to the elves preparing for this year's Christmas, focusing on one of the elves in particular, the second main character of the story, Hermie. The elf foreman, one of my favorite characters of this movie, asks why he hasn't finished his set of toys, Hermie commenting that he doesn't like making them. This shocks the foreman and the other elves, especially being shocked that Hermie wants to be a dentist of all things.
Someday, I'd like to be a dentist.
The foreman says that he's an elf, and that elves make toys no matter what. So I guess no matter what aspirations an elf has, they are always expected to make toys, I guess. Nice society, guys. He then forces Hermie to continue painting the toys or he's fired. Which in that case, what will Hermie do if he is fired? Like, does Hermie have bills to pay? Guess it doesn't matter because he sings a snippet of the Misfits song and announces that he quits. It cuts to Donner forcing Rudolph to wear his nose covering despite clearly not wanting to. Donner seemed more determined to get him into the sleigh team than thinking of his own son's comfort. Rudolph then sings a snippet of the Misfits song, commenting on why he doesn't fit in. I don't know, man. Might be the glowing tumor on your face. It then cuts to some time after Christmas when the fawns go out to meet each other. They are also coming out to be inspected by Santa. Donner motivates Rudolph to go out there and be himself. Rudolph then meets a blonde reindeer named Fireball, which I guess is a better name for a kid than whatever the hell Elon Musk named one of his kids. I mean, seriously, look at this name. Fireball offers to be Rudolph's friend, the two going to the reindeer games. Fireball saying it's a great way to show off in front of the does. It then cuts to the foreman getting the elves together for elf practice, which I guess in this case is choir. The elves then sing a song about how they are Santa's elves, and Santa clearly does not give a flying fuck about it. The foreman then discovers that Hermie never showed up, this pissing him off thoroughly. It cuts to Hermie hammering in a toy's teeth, despite saying that he quit earlier. And then, well, you know the clip.
Why weren't you at elf practice?
Hermie says that he's just fixing the toy's teeth. The foreman gets pissed again and tells him that he'll never fit in, and that he must go to elf practice. Maybe this is why the toys are all so fucked up later. Or perhaps I'm getting ahead of myself. Hermie then packs his things and throws himself out the window, plummeting to his death. Nope, that is not what happened. He jumps out the window and presumably falls safely onto the snow. It cuts back to Rudolph and his friend Fireball. Fireball pointing out the does. This is when we meet Rudolph's love interest, Clarice. I'll talk about her later. Fireball comments on how she seems to already like Rudolph. Comet then comes in and claims that he's gonna whip them into shape. The first game they're gonna play is called Pickup. Fireball gives Rudolph the opportunity to get to know Clarice, whilst they wait to be picked to play the game. Clarice immediately claims that Rudolph will be the best for takeoff practice.
I bet you'll be the best.
Rudolph gets flustered and his nose starts to glow through the covering. Clarice taking note of this, but quickly changing the subject, saying he talks funny. She then introduces herself as Clarice, Rudolph introducing himself. The two saying hi to each other, although the way Clarice says hi to Rudolph sounds almost breathless. I mean, seriously, take a listen to this.
Hi.
Rudolph tries to ask Clarice to spend time together after practice, only for Comet to cock-block him and call him over for his turn. Before Rudolph leaves, he asks her to walk home with him, her agreeing to this. She then proceeds to say his name weirdly. Seriously, listen to this.
Rudolph.
Clarice then whispers to him that she thinks he's cute. Rudolph then gets a massive boner and flies. Comet comments about how magnificent... Why did I have so much trouble reading that word? What the f***? Comet comments about how magnificent his flying was for his first time. Even Santa being impressed. Fireball and Rudolph start to play fight. Rudolph being so excited that his nose cover just kind of pops off. Like, it just kind of, like, pops off like that, revealing his red nose. Fireball is immediately terrified by the glowing tumor on his face. Everyone laughing at him. Santa scolds Donner for Rudolph's mere existence, and especially because he did well, since he's still racist.
I'm racist.
Oh, also, this is not on script, but, after this, Fireball just kinda disappears from the movie. Like, he's never mentioned again, he's never referenced again, he's just kinda gone. Like, we never see him again. Comet then scolds all of them for being so rude to Rudolph, allowing him to join in on the rest of the games. Nope! That doesn't happen either. Comet becomes racist as well and excludes Rudolph from the reindeer games. Guess everyone's worried they might catch something? Seriously, I get he gets bullied for it, but why is Comet, a fucking adult, excluding him? Although Santa did it, I guess. But he's racist.
Racist.
But why did Fireball get so damn scared? Did he think he might get a glowing nose as well? Probably, because he's a stupid idiot child, and he has an excuse because he's a stupid and an idiot child. It's honestly kind of depressing how both children and adults discriminate against Rudolph, to be honest. Rudolph runs away from the scene, Clarice following him into the Christmas tree forest. Rudolph questions what she wants, Clarice reminding him that he promised to walk her home, although he asked for her to walk home with him, which made me think he wanted her to come over to his cave. Rudolph assumes that Clarice is gonna make fun of his nose, Clarice claiming that his nose is handsome.
I think it's a handsome nose.
And much better than the fake one. I have never heard someone call a nose handsome, but to each their own. Rudolph claims it to be a burden to him, that his nose is bad because it's different from everyone else. Clarice tells him that's why it's so grand, and that any doe would be lucky to be with him, despite the other does most likely thinking Rudolph is just as hideous as what the other reindeer think. I said Rudolph, what the fuck? Guess that makes Clarice the weird one, probably. Clarice then sings a song about there's always tomorrow. She then nuzzles him a bit during the song as well. The two then begin to walk home together, until Clarice's father immediately comes in and scolds Clarice and tells her to go home, and that he doesn't want her to be seen with a red-nosed reindeer. Clarice obeys and leaves. Clarice is, to be honest, strange to me. She seemed into him. She seemed especially into him when his nose was revealed. She must be very kind since she somehow didn't react like everyone else. That, or she has a mutation kink and really wants to be filled with his red-nosed mutant babies. And of course her father wouldn't want to be the grandfather to those kids. I just want to say before I continue that I don't know why Clarice has an adult woman's voice. I might be the only one that thinks this, but her voice just sounds too adult. The way she says some words breathlessly gives me a bad idea. Who knows, maybe she's secretly an adult masquerading as a young fawn. Rudolph then sits down in the snow dejected, sad that he got cock-blocked for the second time in under an hour. Hermie then pops out of the snow, him for some reason just kinda being under the snow pile. Rudolph asks who Hermie is, in which he responds as being a dentist, and not with his name like a normal person would, or as a normal elf in this case. But then again, he wants to be a dentist and not a toy maker, so I don't know what to think. Hermie then elaborates that he's not a dentist yet, and that he's just an elf right now. But thinking about this, it makes no sense. Isn't he gonna still be an elf even if he becomes a dentist? It's not like you change species. It's not like you go from elf to dentist. Dentists are not a species of their own. Hermie then says he needs nobody, and that he is independent. Rudolph also claiming that he's independent, saying,
Independent.
Then some ornaments fall from the tree behind them, for no reason. Literally no reason, actually. actually. They react a bit and then go on with their conversation like nothing happened. Why did this happen? Why did they put this here? Hermie offers that he wants to be independent with Rudolph. Rudolph asking if he doesn't mind his red nose. And Hermie responds that he's fine as long as Rudolph is fine with him being a dentist. They make a deal over it, then sing the Misfit song. Two notable points in the song is when it zooms in on two random owls. Two random owls that help the song in no way, might I add. It also gives us a visual of Hermie caving in a snow version of the four-man skull. Why did they put that there? It then cuts to the two being in a blizzard far from the North Pole. I mean, from Christmas Town. I'm assuming that they were trying to run away. They then hear the Abominable's roars, us also getting a peek at its face. Honestly, it's kinda depressing. Rudolph is bullied by his peers, shunned by other adults, and even Santa. And his only love interest's father won't allow Clarice to see him. So Rudolph ends up running away. Afterward, we get a look at yet another great character, Yukon Cornelius. He claims to be the greatest prospector in the North, and he says the lands are rich with silver and gold. It cuts to Sam singing a song about silver and gold. A random-ass seal giving Sam a banjo, which he proceeds to fake playing.
Silver and gold.
The one thing this song does is answer a question I had earlier. I guess the birds and the other critters put the ornaments up. But why though? Cornelius offers Hermie and Rudolph a grip. A grip? The fuck? Cornelius offers Hermie and Rudolph a ride, proceeding to carry the sleigh along because his dogs are too fucking lazy to do it themselves. That's when we finally get a proper encounter with the Abominable. And we get this clip that definitely didn't scare any children when they were younger. Cornelius calls this thing a bumble, but I'm just gonna be calling it the Abominable, so yeah. The Abominable ends up chasing after the group, the Yeti screaming at them the whole way through. Genuinely though, how wasn't I scared of this guy? I mean, look at some of these damn clips. The trio are then cornered by the monster, Cornelius deciding to take advantage of the quote-unquote Bumble's one weakness. He quickly uses his pickaxe to pick at the ice, making the piece of ice break off and float away. It then reveals that the Abominable cannot swim, and it falls in the ocean and drowns, and we never see it again. The trio are now floating on a piece of drift ice into the great beyond. It cuts back to Rudolph's childhood cave with Donner and Miss Donner. Donner feeling bad about being a dick to his son and not standing up for him when the entire North Pole was clowning on his son. Even Santa. Seriously, man, now you feel bad? After your son ran away and you will most likely never see him again? Anyway, Donner decides to go out and find his son. Miss Donner offers to help, and Donner promptly tells her to fuck off back to the kitchen where she belongs. Clarice would eventually come by, and Clarice, being wet for Rudolph like she had never been for any other buck, brings along Miss Donner to find Rudolph on their own. It cuts back to the trio still on the ice block. Cornelius considering eating the perfectly good reindeer still on the ice raft, until they crash onto an island. Cornelius calls out that they've found land, only for Hermie to tell him no shit. Rudolph asks where they have ended up. They then see a castle in the distance, while Cornelius points out a flying lion with a crown in the sky. The trio then meet a Jack-in-the-Box, him saying that he's the sentry of the island of misfit toys. Rudolph guesses that his name is Jack, but he is revealed that his name is Charlie! Claiming that nobody wants to play with a Charlie in the box. I find this quite strange, actually. Literally just get a name change. Also, who wouldn't have wanted to play with him? He works just fine from the looks of it. I blame the elves for naming him Charlie than anything. Charlie also says that he had to come here because of it, which is kind of sad. It then pans outward to reveal a whole slew of misfit toys, which most of them look just fine. They then start singing a song about how wonderful Christmas is. Some of these toys are an elephant with spots, a train with square wheels, a water pistol that shoots jelly, a bird that swims, a cowboy that rides an ostrich, and a boat that sinks. Okay, going off script a bit, I find these toys problems to be quite bullshit. Well, at least some of them. Elephants with spots. I think everyone wouldn't mind playing with an elephant with spots. A train with square wheels. That little scene when it was rolling by, it seemed to be doing just fine. And plus, its front wheels are circular, at least from what I'm remembering. I don't have the movie on me right now. A water pistol that shoots jelly. Does it have an infinite supply of jelly in its chamber? I mean, I think that more depends on what you put in the pistol. A bird that swims. Now, that one is kind of a fuck up, but I don't know. Bird that swims, you do you. A cowboy that rides an ostrich. It's a cowboy that rides an ostrich. Who wouldn't want to play with a cowboy that rides an ostrich? And a boat that sinks. Now, that is the only one that I can see nobody wanting to play with. Especially in a tub, because it doesn't, like, float. It sinks. But then again, maybe some kid could just play with it outside of the tub. Who knows? Okay, back on script here. Oh, wait, before I go on, I noticed that Cornelius has a revolver on his belt. Just wanted to point that out. After the song, we find out that the lion that was flying is known as King Moonraiser. He is said to fly the entire earth in search of toys that are unwanted, bringing them to this island until they are wanted. The trio goes up to see King Moonraiser, asking if they can stay on the island, which King Moonraiser tells them that it's an island for toys only, even though he's not a toy from the looks of it. Cornelius then says a very unneeded thing.
How do you like that? Even among misfits, you're misfits.
Moonraiser eventually decides to make a deal. If they stay for one night, when they go back to Christmas Town, Rudolph shall tell Santa about the misfit toys. Thinking about it now, I blame the foreman for all the ways these toys came out.
What? Whoa!
He's the one that let all these misfit toys go under the radar, letting the elves get away with making faulty products. He seems very incompetent at his job, to be honest. Okay, anyway, on with the review. The three are then given a small, cramped home to sleep in for the night. Rudolph and Hermie arguing about what they should do. Hermie argues that they should go together, while Rudolph argues back, saying that the abominable will catch them thanks to his nose, saying he should go alone. Cornelius says that they should go to bed, Hermie saying it's settled. Shutting off the light, Cornelius and Hermie instantly, and I mean instantly, fall asleep.
But it's all settled.
Rudolph decides that he'll no longer put his friends in danger, leaving the two whilst they sleep, also leaving the door open, which kinda bugged me, to be honest. Rudolph rides along a new ice raft, slowly going insane and dying of starvation only a few weeks later. No one, that is, none, although realistically, that's what would have happened. Years would end up passing, Rudolph existing the best he could. Oh wait. No, they said months passed, which is a whole other can of worms that I'll talk about later. He would constantly have to run from the abominable, not having time to make friends. Although he'd occasionally make some. Like this pack of polar bears, although I think bears eat reindeers. You know what, let me search this up. Do polar bears eat reindeer? And yep, they do eat reindeer, so Rudolph most likely would have been dead by this point. Rudolph eventually grows the fuck up, realizing that he can't run away from his problems. This is kind of reminding me of The Lion King, to be honest. Rudolph would then go back home, being made fun of by the other reindeer despite being gone for literal years. I do not care what the movie says, he was not gone for a few months. He's literally been gone for years. You don't just go from this to this overnight. Rudolph enters his old childhood cave only for Santa to tell him that his parents threw themselves into the icy waters due to their grief. Santa comes in and tells them that they've been, quote, gone for months.
They've been gone for months.
Looking for Rudolph, of course. Santa expressing concern that he won't be able to fly for Christmas without Donner, when he should be concerned for Donner, Miss Donner, and Clarice's safety. Also, Santa greets Rudolph like he hasn't been missing for literal years. Santa just really is a big piece of shit in this movie. Rudolph then sets out to go find them. The storm mentioned earlier then finally hits, it just being 2 days before Christmas Eve. No joke, this snowstorm looks devastating. I mean, this house was essentially buried by snow. I mean, look at that. Also, why do these people look like aliens? Why do they look like aliens? Oh, also, one more thing. Remember how bad the storm is. That's gonna come into play later. Trust me. Rudolph decides to go and check if his family and unofficial girlfriend were in the Abominable's cave. Him ending up finding them there. The Abominable holding Clarice while Donner and Miss Donner stand there and stare like deer in headlights. Or should I say, reindeer in headlights. For real though, where the hell were they staying for these past few months? They were either just out in the cold for months on end, or they were kidnapped months ago by the Abominable and kept in this cave. And in that case, why did it take the Abominable this long to decide to eat them? Surely it would have been easier than presumably chasing Rudolph when he had 3 perfectly good reindeer at his home, especially 2 adults. Also, why aren't these 2 helping? Are they just sitting there waiting to be eaten? Rudolph then tells the Abominable to put Clarice down, which he does. Quite nice of him. And might I ask, why does Clarice? Oh god. Why does Clarice still look like she hasn't aged at all? It's been years. Or if I'm meant to believe Rudolph grew that much in only a few months, wouldn't she also grow up too? Was he in a goddamn rift in time? What the fuck is going on? Instead of the 3 reacting to Rudolph's presence or helping him, they decide just to sit and stand there while Rudolph fights the giant Yeti monster alone. The Abominable tries to grab Rudolph, only to trip and give Rudolph the advantage to poke him in the ass. The Abominable then gets up and straight up murders Rudolph by crushing him to death with a stalagmite. His family and unofficial girlfriend presumably just stood there and watched this happen. The Abominable then laughs in triumph at Rudolph's defeat. It is then revealed that Cornelius and Hermie had been looking for Rudolph since he left, cutting to Cornelius and Hermie just arriving at Christmastown on the night of the harsh storm. And taking a look at them, they look the exact same. Sam then says it's a good thing he sent them right after Rudolph, which meant that if it wasn't for Sam, things would have ended badly. I'll elaborate later, trust me. Cornelius and Hermie then make their way to the cave's entrance, discussing what they should do. Cornelius telling Hermie his ingenious plan. It shows the Abominable standing over the perfectly edible reindeer, having just been standing there for no reason, just staring at them like he can't eat them. Like, why hasn't he eaten them yet? They're not fighting him. Eat them now. Clarice is sobbing over Rudolph and questioning why the Abominable hasn't eaten them yet, which is the exact same question I have. All the while, Rudolph's parents stare down at their son with vacant expressions on their faces. Rudolph then awakens, calling out his family and unofficial girlfriend's names. Also, how the fuck did Rudolph survive getting crushed by a fucking stalagmite? Seriously, it whacked him with a stalagmite. He would be dead.
Oh, why doesn't he get it over with? Mom.
It cuts to Hermie and Cornelius preparing to stop the Abominable. Cornelius climbing up to the cave's entrance whilst Hermie sets a distraction. Cornelius also claims that the Abominable couldn't turn down a quote pork dinner.
Never knew the bumble snow monster yet who turned down a pork dinner for deer meat.
How the hell does the Abominable know what a pig is? He's lived in the North Pole all of his life, presumably. He would never see a damn pig in his life. Cornelius also tells Hermie to put some more oomph into his oinks, saying that he's, quote, hungry. I'm sorry, but if that damn thing was so damn hungry, he would have eaten the 4 perfectly good reindeer sitting right at his feet in the cave. Hermie starts winking and it lures out the Abominable. Cornelius pushes a large snowball onto the Abominable, knocking it to its stomach. Cornelius then pushes a large rock down onto its head, finally killing it. No, it lived. Cornelius comes in to get the 4 reindeer out of there. Then, the Abominable comes back into the cave, only for Hermie to tell them that it's no harm, revealing that he removed its fucking teeth. How the hell did Hermie have enough time to remove all those teeth before it woke up? I timed it. It gets back into the cave after 9 seconds. How the fuck did Hermie manage to get rid of all of its teeth in 9 damn seconds? He must be a really good damn dentist, holy hell. Also, the Abominable could still rip them to shreds with his claws, stomp them to death. I mean, he must have some really hefty strength on him if he's able to rip off a damn stalagmite from the ceiling. So he is still very much a threat. Although judging by his behavior earlier and in the upcoming scene, he really was a pushover. Also, Hermie has no mouth in the scene. Just wanted to point that out. Cornelius then goes at the abominable, waving his arms and pushing at it. It backs off in fear, despite still being a threat with his claws and strength. Cornelius then lunges at the abominable and pushes it off the edge, killing it and himself. Rudolph and Hermie mourn the loss of their friend, deciding they should just go back to Santa's workshop. They tell the others their story once they get back, everyone eventually deciding that they were, quote, a little hard on them. You will not sit there and tell me that these fuckers felt their actions were a little hard. They drove 2 people to run away from home. One of them nearly dying at the hands of the abominable. Seriously? Santa claims that the first thing once the storm lets up, he'll find the misfit toys a nice home, while the foreman agrees to let Hermie be a dentist. The foreman most likely losing his job right after this due to the sheer amount of misfit toys. It cuts to Clarice's father apologizing for not letting Rudolph fuck his daughter, when Cornelius bursts in with the abominable. Cornelius claims that he reformed the abominable, the creature saying it wants a job. Surprised it can grasp the concept of a job. Also, is putting the star on a high Christmas tree that impressive to these people? Rudolph claims that Cornelius should be dead, but then Cornelius tells them that the abominable actually bounces. It then cuts to the next day. The elves are making the last batch of toys for Christmas, Santa being annoyed by their song, of course. Santa's mom claims that Santa must be fat for the children, even though they aren't meant to see him. Santa then gets the weather report, seeing that the snowstorm won't subside by tonight, so he decides to sadly cancel Christmas, breaking the bad news to everyone, but then being distracted by Rudolph's glowing nose, which gives Santa an idea. Santa decides to have Rudolph lead the team, saying that the light from his nose will be able to help them see through the storm. Santa then recites one of the lines from the song, because that is an obligation for this movie.
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
Nope.
Rudolph, of course, agrees to this. Then Donner says that he knew all along that Rudolph's nose was that special, even though his actions throughout the movie tell us otherwise. Oh, also, you're telling me that his nose will be able to friggin' help them see through a snowstorm like that? One that buries friggin' houses under snow? Holy shit. Now then, about what I said earlier. Sam tells Cornelius and Hermie earlier where Rudolph was, caused all of this. Literally all of that. So this makes Sam essentially the secret hero of this movie. If it wasn't for him, Cornelius and Hermie never would have found the others, so Rudolph, Clarice, and his parents would have all been eaten by the abominable, if he didn't stand there for another 3 fucking hours. And Christmas would have remained cancelled. Anyway, enough of me yapping? Enough of me yapping, time for the ending. It then plays another song, showing all the others preparing the workshop, even though they probably would have done that earlier. Also, this reindeer looks high as fuck. It also reveals that Santa was somehow able to get fat as shit in only a few hours. He might be better than Joey Chestnut. Santa, Rudolph, and the others then go off into the blizzard to the island of misfit toys. The blizzard's not looking that bad anymore. Like, you can't say that I'm supposed to compare this to this. What the hell happened to the storm? Also, how the fuck are they gonna find the island? Cornelius, Hermie, and Rudolph didn't have a map to find this place. They randomly drifted there. Also, why is Donner staying back? Didn't Santa say he needed him to fly the sleigh? Oh well, maybe Santa didn't need him when Rudolph went to fly. Oh, also another thing, why is Santa doing this? Why is he bringing the misfit toys back? I mean, according to what I've been told, if they're even the slightest bit off, these kids will not play with them, even if their name is different. So they'll just not be played with again. Wouldn't it be better just to wait till next year so they can fix these toys and make them as good as they should be? Oh well, whatever. It then ends with them flying off. I was gonna say they went off into the clear sky because there should be a snowstorm, but then again, they're all above the clouds, so I have no grounds to say anything. Anyway, that's how the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer ends. That was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Despite my gripes with this movie, I still really like it, and I'm going to enjoy it when I watch it with my dad soon. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of nervous to see people's reaction to this because I've never done a review before, but I hope you all enjoy it. The two people that end up watching this video. Anyway, Merry Christmas, y'all!